Chapter 1. How to be prepared for the lesson you will be teaching. Preparation is a key factor in teaching more effectively. Being prepared before you present your lesson to your students is essential. Teachers who are fully prepared beforehand will not only be more effective, but will notice fewer disruptions in their classroom. Prepare the lesson. Generally, the Sunday school administrator will supply the teacher with a quarterly or a curriculum, but this is not always the case. Some Sunday school teachers are left with the responsibility of coming up with their own material based upon a theme. Regardless, the Sunday school teacher should be able to put a lesson together that has been thoroughly researched and will capture the audience's attention when presented. Materials you will need to get started. 1. Quarterly or curriculum. 2. Bible. 3. Notepad or index cards. 4. Pen or pencils. 5. Highlighter. 6. Dictionary. 7. Timer. 8. Large mirror. 9. Tape recorder. 10. Folder. Follow these steps when preparing your lesson. 1. Read the lesson. Don't just browse over the material, but study it thoroughly. I recommend you read it at least 3 times. This is important because you might miss valuable points if you just glance over the materials. 2. Highlight key points. Use a highlighter to mark areas of importance in the lesson that need to be stressed. When you are ready to present the lesson to your students, you will automatically know what areas on which you should expand. 3. Think like a child. Write your presentation for its intended audience. You can arrange an excellent presentation, but if you haven't geared it to reach the specific age group you are teaching, then you will have wasted your time and theirs. 4. Make a list of questions. Think of some questions concerning the lesson that children might ask you. Write down the questions and answers on index cards. This will save you the time of looking up the answers later. 5. Write down personal experiences. Think of some personal experiences that you have had that relate to the lesson. Write them down and be ready to share. Children can relate to the subject more easily when they have an example. Bible stories are great, but they happen so long ago that the story appears distant to the child. 6. Rehearse the presentation. Once you have composed the lesson as a presentation, rehearse it. Stand in front of a full-length mirror and rehearse the lesson. Listen for sentences that might not sound right to the listener's ears or that you falter over when speaking. Stumbling through a presentation will cause the listener to lose focus. 7. Record the lesson. As you rehearse it, record the lesson on a tape recorder. This will give you an idea of how the presentation will sound to your audience. Play it back and see if there are areas that need improvement. Listen to your voice's tone. Is the voice you are using going to capture your audience's attention or put them to sleep? 8. Time the presentation. Once you have rehearsed the presentation and are comfortable with it, then go through it one more time and using a timer, time the presentation. Knowing the amount of time the presentation will take will help you with planning and scheduling the rest of your activities. 9. Store the presentation. Place the lesson, the question and answer cards, and notes all into one folder. Having all this information together in the order you wish to present it will make the task of teaching the lesson so much easier. 10. Put the presentation in a safe place. If at all possible, I recommend that you take the finished presentation to the church prior to Sunday morning. Keep it in a filing cabinet or somewhere it will be safe. Losing a presentation or forgetting it at home will require you to come up with something at the last minute for which you haven't prepared in advance. 11. Prepare your craft ahead of time. Having everything prepared for your craft ahead of time will ensure that each child has everything they need to complete their craft. Craft time can be an extremely busy time. Children usually require a lot of assistance from the teacher. When the teacher spends a lot of time passing out materials that are needed to assemble the craft, this takes time away from assisting children who require help. An unfinished craft will easily discourage a child. Have these items ready to prepare your craft. 1. All materials pertaining to the craft. 2. Ziploc bags or brown lunch bags. 3. Stapler. 4. Scissors. 5. Timer. 6. Carrying container such as a box or large bag. Follow these step-by-step instructions on how to prepare the craft. 1. Put all pieces of the craft in individual piles. For example, popsicle sticks in one pile, cutouts in another pile, pipe cleaners in another pile, and so on. 2. One bag at a time, place one piece of each item into the bag until the bag has every component needed to assemble the craft. 3. Staple or ziplock the bags. 4. Place finished bags in a container. 5. Assemble the craft yourself. 6. Time how long it takes to assemble the craft. Having an assembled craft will allow the child to see how the craft should look when it is finished. It will also help you to understand how easy or difficult the craft will be for the child. Timing yourself will give you an idea of how much time needs to be allotted, and it will help you to plan that time accordingly. Prepare your activities. Activities can include anything from performing a skit to playing a game or sport, or having a Bible verse contest. Whatever you decide to do, you should choose an activity that allows the child some form of movement. Children become restless and bored easily, and restless or bored children will allow their mind to wander and will not pay attention to what is being taught. An activity that correlates with the lesson is recommended. I have compiled a list of some suggested activities and how to prepare for them. Charades. What you will need. The lesson. Index cards. Fine point marker. Hat or basket. Timer. 1. Begin by finding characters, animals, or objects that were mentioned in the lesson. 2. Use a fine point marker to write down one character on an index card. 3. Use a fine point marker to write down one animal on an index card. 4. Use a fine point marker to write down one object on an index card. 5. Repeat steps 2 to 4 until you have prepared enough cards. Always make a few extras. 6. Fold cards in half. 7. Place cards in a hat or basket. 8. Store cards in the classroom, in the hat or basket, where they are easily accessible. How to play. 1. Make a quick list of the children who are playing. 2. Instruct the children not to share what their card says with the other children. 3. Have each child draw out a card from the hat or basket. 4. One at a time, have the children act out what is written on their cards. 5. Allot a specific amount of time for each child to act out the charade. 6. When a child has guessed the charade correctly, place a check mark next to their name. 7. When everyone has had a turn acting, check the list to see if anyone has guessed more charades correctly. 8. Award the winner with a prize. Have smaller prizes available for the rest of the class. Soccer. What you will need. The Bible verse that correlates with the lesson. Soccer ball. Weather report. Before planning, make sure the weather will be ideal for this activity. How to play. 1. Have the children review the Bible verse several times by saying it aloud. 2. Tell the children where the verse is found in the Bible. 3. Divide the class into 2 teams. 4. Flip a coin to decide which team goes first. 5. Instruct the children that they must yell out where the verse can be found. Example, John 3:16, when they kick the ball through the goal. Failure to do so will disqualify the goal points. 6. Keep score. 7. Award prizes. Nature hike. What you will need. pencils and paper, brown paper lunch bags, weather report. Before planning your hike, make sure the weather will be ideal for this activity. Poster board, glue, timer or watch to keep time. Follow these step-by-step instructions. 1. Explore ahead of time an area close to your church suitable for your nature hike. 2. Divide the class into 4 teams. 3. Pick someone from each team to record the objects they will find. 4. Give that team member a sheet of paper and a pencil. 5. Give each child a brown lunch bag. 6. Show the children the designated area you have chosen and the perimeters within which they should stay. 7. Have the children gather items pertaining to nature. 8. Have the team member make a list of items on the piece of paper. 9. Allot a certain amount of time for collecting materials. 10. Return to classroom. 11. Have each team arrange their findings on a poster board. 12. Have the teams glue their findings to the poster board. 13. Write the Bible verse that pertains to the lesson on the poster board. 14. Have each child sign their name on the poster board. 15. When dry, display the finished posters on the wall. Taking the children on a small nature hike will not only be fun for the children, but it will help to teach them about creation. If your church is situated in the city, split the children into 2 groups and have them create a list of God's creations that are within view. Skits or puppets. You can find skits on the internet that will correlate with your lesson. Children enjoy acting. They also love to perform using puppets. Creating a small stage on which they can perform is fairly easy and can be done without spending a great amount of money. If your classroom is big enough that you can designate a certain area just for performances, then build a stage that doesn't require disassembling. If you don't have an area in your room that can be designated for this purpose, then you will need to build something that can be taken apart and stored until needed again. You can purchase a puppet stage that can be disassembled for around $200. Building your own will cost you approximately $50, depending on where you purchase the materials. If construction isn't your forte, then enlist someone in the church who is skilled in the area of construction to build it for you. Building a stage that can be disassembled can be done fairly easily if you follow these directions. What you will need: 1/4-inch plywood, 4 square feet, so that you can cut 4 squares that are 1 foot each. 5 pieces of 2-inch PVC pipe. You will need 4 of each of the following: 2-inch PVC couplers, pipe to pipe, 2-inch PVC 90-degree elbows, 2-inch PVC T-connectors, flat bottom end caps that will slip inside the 2-inch couplers, carriage bolts complete with flat and lock washers and nuts, PVC cleaner, PVC glue, 220 grit sandpaper. You will also need these tools on hand before you begin: circular saw, electric drill, sander, drill press, deep well socket, same size as the nuts you purchased. This puppet stage is intended for a 6-foot area. Since most classrooms do not have the space available in which to leave the stage intact, I recommend that you build this stage because it can then be disassembled. It is easy to transport and reasonably priced. Be sure to follow the directions precisely to ensure that you have glued the correct joints. Some joints are intended to be left as friction joints, so paying attention to the directions is of utmost importance. Construction directions. 1. Begin by cutting out 4 1-foot squares of plywood for the feet. 2. Sand down any rough areas with 220 grit sandpaper to avoid the possibility of splinters. 3. Drill a hole in the center of each 1-foot square. 4. Using an electric drill or drill press, drill a hole in the center of each of the PVC end caps. 5. Using a spade drill bit, countersink the bottom of the plywood feet so that the carriage bolts will be flush with the bottom of the foot. 6. Beginning at the bottom of the plywood feet, insert the carriage bolts as follows. Carriage bolts through the bottom of the feet and through the PVC end caps. Place the flat washer on the end of the bolt and insert the lock washer on top, and then insert the nut. 7. Tighten the nut with the socket and ratchet, being careful not to destroy the PVC pipe. 8. Dry fit your PVC end caps and couplers to ensure that they will fit together. You want to ensure that you can insert the PVC leg at least 1 inch inside the coupler to hold the leg securely. 9. Use a scrap piece of wood, approximately 3/4 inch in size, between the plywood foot and the coupler as a spacer when gluing. 10. Glue the PVC end caps to the PVC couplers using the PVC cleaner first and then the glue. 11. Allow the glue to dry for at least 30 minutes. Information on gluing PVC pipe. Dry fit all PVC pieces first. Make a mark to show where you will be gluing the PVC pipe. Sand down any rough edges after you cut the pipe. Use the cleaner and make sure the area you are gluing is free from any debris that might cause the pipe to not glue securely. Allow the cleaner to dry before applying glue. Push the pieces together and turn the pipes at least 1/4 inch to distribute the glue more evenly. Use generous amounts of glue on the PVC pipes and apply a thin layer of glue to the socket. Be careful not to get the glue on your skin. Work in an area that is well ventilated. Once you have applied glue, you have approximately 10 seconds to move the PVC pipe before the glue sets up and the pipe cannot be moved. Take the time to create joints that will hold securely during the disassembling of the stage. Using a permanent marker, mark the joints that have been glued. This will help you to remember which part should not be tugged on when trying to disassemble the stage. Now that you have prepared the legs and feet and have glued the necessary joints, it is time to cut the 5 2-inch pipes into their required lengths. You will need to cut 2 of each of the following lengths. 13.5 inch length for the top of the backdrop, 55.5 inch length for the bottom of the backdrop, 96 inch length for the width of the stage, 70 inch length for upright assemblies, 36 inch length for the depth of the stage, 50 inch length for the front drop height, 3 inch length for scraps. How to put together the front joint components. 1. Gather together 2 50-inch lengths along with 2 90-degree elbows and 2 T-connectors. Use your 3-inch lengths to connect the 90-degree elbow to the T-connector. You will need to assemble 2 of these, one for the right front and one for the left front. 2. Dry fit the front joint components first, then check to ensure that everything looks all right. 3. Now glue these parts. The bottom of the T-connector from the previous step to the 50-inch front leg pipe, the T-connector to the 3-inch scrap, the 3-inch scrap to the 90-degree elbow. Do not glue the 96-inch crossbar or the 36-inch depth bar if you intend on being able to disassemble this stage. How to put together the rear joint components. 1. Gather together 2 T-connectors, one 55.5 inch length pipe and one 13.5 inch length pipe. 2. Dry fit the components together. 3. Glue the 55.5 inch length to the bottom of the T-connector. 4. Glue the 13.5 inch length pipe to the top of the T-connector. 5. Dry fit first and then glue the 2 90-degree elbows to the 96-inch crossbar. 6. Allow all components to dry for 30 minutes. Assembling the puppet stage. 1. Lay out 2 of your assembled feet approximately 6 feet apart. 2. Insert a 70-inch length pipe into each rear upright assembly. 3. Place the rear crossbar into the top of each of the rear upright assemblies. 4. Place each of the 36-inch front upright assemblies into 2 of the feet. 5. Insert the front crossbar between the 2 front upright assemblies. 6. Using 2 36-inch depth pipes, Connect the back half to the front half. Your puppet stage is almost complete. You will need to cover the backdrop and the front drop with some type of material. My suggestion would be to purchase dark cloth, either blue or black in color. Check out your local Goodwill or second-hand store to see if you can purchase some used curtains. You may have to cut them down to size and do a little sewing to make them fit. You can also use flat bed sheets that are darkly colored. Remember that they should look like curtains when you put them on, so buy enough material that will cover the area without having to be stretched. You will need to alter the backs so that the pipes will slide through them. This can be done by adding a 6-inch strip of material across the back. How to adjust the material to fit. 1. Turn the material so that you are working on the backside. 2. Using another form of material, cut a piece that is the width of your curtain or sheet. 3. Finish cutting the material so that it is 6 inches in depth. 4. Iron a 1/2 inch hem base on both the top and the bottom of your strip of material. 5. Pin the hem base 3 inches from the top of the curtain or sheet with the ironed edge turned down. 6. Sew the hem in place. 7. Pin the bottom edge of the strip, just like step 5. 8. Sew the hem in place. When finished, there should be 2 openings on each end of your curtain. 9. Now slide the top bar out of the elbow and slide the bar through the strip that you made, making sure that the front side of the curtain is facing towards the audience's view. 10. Do the same for your lower front bar. You can also attach Velcro to the bars and to your material if it would be easier for you. However, Velcro will not give you that curtain look. Making your own sock puppets. What you will need: scissors, socks, at least 3 pairs, colorful buttons or glue-on eyes, yarn, brown, black, red, or yellow, red felt pieces, pom-poms, hot glue gun and glue sticks. 1. Draw your characters on paper first. 2. Decide where to place the eyes. Glue them on or sew them on if using buttons. 3. Glue on a pom-pom for a nose. 4. Cut out a mouth using red felt, then glue it onto the sock. 5. Cut strips of yarn at least 10 inches long. 6. Put 6 strands together and sew the strands onto the sock above the eyes. Loop your thread around the middle of the yarn, tacking the 6 strands together. 7. Repeat step 6 until you have enough strands to make your puppet look like it has hair. 8. Place the sock on your hand and decide where the neck of the character will be. 9. Glue felt pieces on to make your puppet appear as if it has clothes on. Making puppets is both simple and fun. You could even have your class help you. There are many websites that offer ideas for making puppets. Take the time to do your own research or check these sites out. http://www.activitytv.com/puppets-for-kids http://www.danielsplace.com/html/puppets/html http://www.familycrafts.about.com/od/puppets http://buzzle.com/articles/puppet-making-for-children. Preparing a snack. Having a snack that is already prepared is definitely a great idea. Treats such as goldfish or cheese sticks give the children nourishment. Most children are rushed to Sunday school unfed. A hungry child will be less likely to pay attention to the lesson. Preparing your snack ahead of time will save you the time it takes to dole out snacks in the classroom. It will also make the snack seem more personal to the children. What you will need: snack-sized Ziploc bags, cutting board and knife if preparing vegetables, rubber gloves, Measuring cup. Preparing snacks such as crackers, snack mixes, or dried fruits. 1. Put on rubber gloves. 2. Measure out an appropriate amount. 3. Place amount in Ziploc bags. 4. Close bags tightly, removing air as you close them. Snacks such as crackers, snack mixes, or dried fruits can correlate with the lesson. Use goldfish for lessons such as the 4 fishermen who became disciples in the 4th chapter of Matthew and the feeding of the 5,000 in the 6th chapter of Mark. Use snack mixes that have wheat check cereals in them for lessons on the parable of the wheat and the tares in the 13th chapter of Matthew, or the parable of the sower, which is also found in the 13th chapter of Matthew. Dried fruit mixes can be used for lessons that teach about the fruit of the Spirit, or are related to fruit in some form. Always stay away from using sugar-coated snack items. You never know when you may have a child who has a condition like diabetes of which you are unaware. Preparing vegetable snacks. 1. Put on rubber gloves. 2. Clean or peel vegetables. 3. Wash vegetables and drain. 4. Cut into appropriate bite sizes. 5. Place an appropriate amount in each bag. 6. Close bags tightly, removing air as you close them. Vegetable snacks can be used to represent many things and can correlate with a lesson about Cain and Abel. If you are a creative person, you could also arrange a vegetable tray that would represent the Garden of Eden. There are many creative ideas out there that a Sunday school teacher can utilize so that she can correlate the snack with the lesson. Here is one of my favorites, which can be used when teaching a lesson about the walls of Jericho. How to build the walls of Jericho. What you will need. Box of graham crackers. 1 8-ounce package of softened cream cheese. Bag of pretzel sticks. Long sticks are best. Tray covered with aluminum foil. Thin red licorice. 1. Using the cream cheese, draw a square the size of your Jericho on the tray. Make your line thick enough that you can place the bottom edge of a cracker in it. 2. Unwrap the graham crackers. 3. Coat the edge of the long side of the graham cracker with cream cheese. 4. Stick the cracker down into the line of cream cheese that you drew on the tray. 5. Use another cracker and coat the edge with cream cheese. 6. Place that cracker next to the other cracker and bump them up against each other. 7. Continue steps 5 and 6 until you have made a square that represents the city of Jericho. 8. Use the long stick pretzels on the corners of the city and to make a gate in the front. 9. Using cream cheese, attach them to the city. 10. Apply thin strips of licorice to the front of the gate so it looks more like a gate. Refrigerate the completed city overnight in order for it to paste itself together. When it is snack time, have the children march around the table 7 times and then give a great shout. They can then disassemble the pieces of the city and eat them for their snack. Great snack ideas are only a click away. Browse the internet for some great ideas or be creative and come up with a few of your own. Planning a schedule. Planning a schedule in advance will ensure that you have enough materials and activities to cover the time that you have been given. Scheduling these activities will allow you to keep things running more smoothly in the classroom. There are many more components to the Sunday school lesson than just the lesson itself. Activities, along with arts and crafts, help to make the lesson more valuable to the student. Running out of time to finish a project is discouraging to a child. What you will need. The amount of time it took when you practiced presenting your lesson. The amount of time it took you to assemble the craft. An idea of how long a skit or activity will take. A spreadsheet designed for scheduling purposes. You can generally find these in your Microsoft Works program. Pencil for filling in the spreadsheet. Follow these guidelines when creating your schedule. Know the approximate amount of time that you will have the children in your classroom. Prepare enough material and activities to cover that time frame. Prepare additional activities in case the time is extended. Never leave yourself in the predicament of having to come up with an activity at the last minute. It gives the children a sense that you are not in control of the situation. Mix it up and don't follow the same order week after week. Opt for a Christian video instead of teaching the lesson yourself. Instead of a craft, you could have the children perform a skit. Whatever you choose to do, you should always make sure that you have covered the time adequately. Go into your classroom 10 minutes before classes begin. Make sure the room is clean. Check to see that the chalk and markers are reachable. Make sure that everything you will need for the lesson is ready and that nothing is missing. Then pray. Pray that the children will be receptive to the lesson. Pray for God to give you the right words and the right answers. Pray against any disruptions. Pray for the lesson to run smoothly. Prayer is of the utmost importance. I found this table available to me on my Microsoft Works word processor. There were several to choose from. Let me show you how to find one and then create one. 1. Open up your Microsoft Works word processor. 2. Left-click with your mouse on the heading Table. 3. Left-click on Insert Table. 4. Now choose a format from the options given in the left-hand corner. 5. In the right-hand corner, you will choose how many rows and columns you will need. 6. Now choose OK, and the table you have created will appear on your word processor. 7. Now place any information you need into the columns. I chose to make a heading for time instead of typing specific times into the chart. This way I can pencil them in, allowing me to change the schedule on a weekly basis. 8. Once you have finished the chart, copy and paste another one below it. You should be able to place 2 charts on a page. Make sure you save them as a document so you will have them to print when needed. Once you print some, cut the paper in half so you will have 2 charts. Here is an example of what your Sunday School planner might look like. Sunday School Planner. Today's date. Time. Event. Person leading event. Plan a schedule according to what you want to do and when you want it to happen. Your schedule might look something like this. 10 o'clock to 10:05, opening prayer and Pledge of Allegiance. 10:05 to 10:25, read the lesson. 10:25 to 10:30, question and answer time. 10:30 to 10:45, snack time. 10:45 to 11:15, craft. 11:15 to 11:45, activity. 11:45 to 12 o'clock, fellowship, cleanup, and closing prayer. Once you have a schedule formatted, pencil it in on the schedule chart that you created. Place your finished schedule in the container along with the other items you have prepared for your lesson. Preparation is only one key element in teaching Sunday school. The teacher who is fully prepared will find that her classroom will run more smoothly. She will find that she has fewer disruptions from her students. She will have more opportunities to be available to meet the needs of her students. She will feel more confident in teaching.